Hi friends, welcome back. Today I'm going to take you to the islands of Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to make a pillowy pita bread with roasted tomatoes and a garlicky eggplant. Let's get started. Alright, so for our pita bread, it's pretty simple. It's just 3 ingredients that we're going to use. First is a cup of self-rising flour, second is a cup of all-purpose flour, and third is a cup of water. We're just going to mix all of these ingredients in together and put that off to the side. In Trinidad, we call this dish fried bake, really because we're frying flour that we use to bake, but it's so good, you're gonna love it. So I've got 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of self-rising flour, and also a cup of water that we're gonna use to mix this in. I kind of nuke my water in a microwave for like 30 seconds. I find that the water, when it's a little bit lukewarm, makes this so much better. So we're just gonna mix this all together here, get everybody in the bowl happy and playing along. So now that that's mixed, I'm gonna add a little bit of flour in here to make it into a dough. All right, so now that that's mixed, we're gonna put that off to the side, cover with some saran wrap, and we'll be messing with it 1 to 3 more times before we actually fry it. And now we're gonna get to our tomatoes, which is pretty simple. You can use Roma tomatoes or you can use beefsteak tomatoes. I've got 2 beefsteak tomatoes that I have wrapped in some foil, and I'm gonna wrap this twice. And for the eggplant, the garlicky eggplant, well, of course, we're gonna need 7 cloves of garlic because it is garlicky. And we're gonna make 2-inch slits in the eggplant, and we're gonna stuff the eggplant with these garlic cloves. My dough is all done, it's wrapped, and I put it off to the side. Now we're gonna get to the tomatoes. That's pretty simple because we're just gonna wrap it in foil, and then we're gonna put it off to bake. The only thing that you need to know about the tomatoes, you can use whatever kind of tomatoes that you like. It can be beefsteak tomatoes, it can be Roma tomatoes. I've never done this dish with cherry tomatoes, but if you try it, let me know how it comes out, or if you've done it before, let me know your thoughts on that. When you wrap this, you're gonna wrap the tomatoes twice in foil. And that's pretty much it for the tomatoes for right now. As we move along to the eggplant, we're also gonna wrap that twice, but we're gonna make slits into this eggplant, and we're gonna add in about 7 cloves of garlic that we're just gonna make a slit and put the garlic right inside, and then we'll put it off to bake. Okay, my eggplant and my tomatoes are all wrapped in foil. It's ready to go off to bake. You can roast these on your grill, or you can also roast them on an open fire if you have a stove that's an open flame fire. But I find the quality of it comes out just the same when you bake it. We're gonna bake these for about an hour at 350 degrees. So now that both of these are double wrapped, we're gonna put in the oven to roast or bake. If you have an open flame, which is how this dish is traditionally done, you can do that as well. Or if you'd like to put this on your grill, you can do that as well. Okay, so the other ingredients that we're gonna add to our tomatoes and our garlicky eggplant is simple, just 3 things. Onion, garlic for the tomatoes, and a habanero pepper. We're gonna finely dice a half of an onion. We're gonna finely dice 4 cloves of garlic, and also a 1/3 of a habanero pepper. Now, you can use whatever pepper that you like. You can use jalapeno, you can use serrano, or if you don't like peppers at all, you can simply omit this from this dish. Now we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients that we need. So we're gonna dice up half of an onion. We're gonna use 1/4 of an onion in each of the dish. And then also I'm gonna chop up very fine 4 garlic cloves. And here I have some habanero peppers that I'm also gonna cut up maybe about 1/3 of each for each dish. There we go. I chose different colors of the habanero because since the tomatoes are red, I didn't want to put hot habanero peppers that were red in there, so that if you do see the pepper in there, you know you're going to be biting into something a little bit spicy. If you don't have habanero peppers, you can also use jalapeno peppers or whatever pepper that you like. And if you don't like spice at all, you can completely skip this step. Ooh, the spread one's spicy. Oh yeah. It's been about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go in and flip my tomatoes and flip my eggplant on the other side so that it cooks evenly. And I'm also going to go back into my flour and knead that once again and just let it hang out for a little longer. All right, so our eggplant, our tomatoes are done roasting off. We're gonna take them out of the foil. Just be super careful because these are super hot. You might get a facial, and that's okay, but just be careful when you're opening these up. Now all we're gonna do after we open these up is that we're gonna just scoop that into a bowl. Like I said, it's super hot. You see the steam coming out? It's happening. Let me get this into a bowl. Okay, now for your eggplant, while you scoop this out, you don't want any of the skin because that's gonna be bitter. So use a fork and just scoop out all the flesh on the inside and all those garlic that we had stuffed into the eggplant before we roasted it off. Okay, so now that everything is scooped out into a bowl, we're just gonna mash this up. Kind of like you're mashing up mashed potatoes. Especially with the eggplant, you wanna go in and make sure that those garlic cloves that you had in there are like really mashed. And then we're gonna add the fresh ingredients that we just cut up. So, like I said, a quarter of the onion is gonna go into each of the dish. So, eggplant gets a quarter, tomatoes get a quarter. We're gonna add in the garlic that we finally chopped. And last but not least, the habanero. These are gonna be nice and spicy. One final ingredient, it depends on if you are sodium free or not. You can add in a little bit of salt. I find that tomatoes need more salt than the eggplant. So you'll go in with a tablespoon of salt for the tomatoes and a teaspoon of salt for the eggplant. For the Pillowy Pita bread, I went back in one more time and kneaded the flour, and pretty soon we're gonna be frying that up. We are gonna roll out this flour, these dough balls that we have now. You can use any flat surface, and if you don't have a rolling pin, you can also use a bottle of wine. I've seen that commonly used. We're gonna roll it out and then we're gonna cut it into slices, about 8. So I cut it into half, and then a quarter, and then into the 8s. All right, so now that our dough have been rolled out and we've cut it into 8 pieces, we're gonna fry it. I've got here a large frying pan and 3 cups of oil, and we're gonna get the pita bread into here. So as soon as you see these fluff up or get a little puffy, you can flip them over, or even if they're a little bit light brown on each side, then they're done. It should take about 1 to 2 minutes on each side. And here you have it, this pillowy pita bread fried bake with roasted eggplant and tomatoes, a vegan and vegetarian dish that is so good.